Hello everyone. So today I'm making another bread, and this one was supposed to be a wild yeast in the shape of a yam, and we're going to be doing something similar to it, but it calls for a special fermentation process that is going to take some time. So maybe one day I'll get to it and create it, but I am going to make it a vegan challah today. So no eggs and no dairy in it, and this is for Annette. All right, so let's watch. First of all, we are going to go ahead, and it's 1.5 cups of warm water, and it's going to be 1 packet of yeast that you're going to be putting in. We're going to go ahead and put the sugar in first, so it's 1 tablespoon of sugar. And again, that's going to help with the yeast activate. So 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then after that, I should have been a little bit more prepared, but I wasn't. Let me just get that sugar kind of stirred in for a second. I use the raw sugar, and it's a little thicker than the regular white sugar. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put our yeast in. The idea is to get it nice and frothy. So I'm going to put my packet of yeast, equivalent of the packet of yeast. Go ahead and give it a good stir. Mix it all together, and then we're going to just let it sit for 10 minutes. The idea is to have it nice and foamy. That it'll hopefully be activated and doing its job. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just leave that for a few minutes, and we'll come back to it in 10 minutes. So one of the other processes of this particular bread is it calls to go ahead and mix your salt and your flour. So the only ingredients this bread is going to consist of is flour, sugar, salt, yeast, and water. That's it, 5 ingredients. And, or actually I think I said 4. Did I say 4? Salt, sugar, flour, water, yeast, yes. And then you can also use a little bit of melted butter to go on top. It'll help give it a nice, pretty crust as well. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and do 3 cups of flour. I'm going to put it in a separate bowl and mix the salt. That's quick and easy, right? This recipe calls for 3 to 3.5 cups of flour, so we're going to just go ahead and do 3 cups, and we'll have a 1/2 cup for the possibility that we might need a little extra, and after all said and done. So again, we've got, and it's the 3 cups with just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt is all we need. And we'll go ahead and just give it a nice little stir, mix it all together as it has requested. And I don't know if you can notice, but it's starting to foam and do its bubbling up thing. We still have probably another 4 minutes to go to make it the 10-minute mark. So we're just going to go ahead and just leave this all, and we'll come back in 4 minutes. All right, so it's been the 10-minute mark. We're going to go ahead and we're going to mix in our flour with our yeast. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but there is a layer of foam on top, which is exactly what we need. And so I'm going to use just a spatula, mix it together. Once it's mixed, we're going to lightly flour it so it doesn't stick on the side. We're going to let it rise for 1 hour. So let's go ahead and get this mixed. Probably gonna have to get our hands a little dirty here in a minute. Just get it, looks like it's pretty well coated. And now we're gonna just work in that little bit of dough to form a ball. And then we'll just coat it with some flour. And we're gonna let it rise, and then we'll do another kneading process. I'm just slightly kneading it. It doesn't call for like a whole lot of heavy kneading just yet. This is again a vegan one. This is not, doesn't have eggs in it. And so I will make sure to put the recipe probably at the end, like I normally do. Okay. Something I did do is I went ahead and put my oven on the lowest setting, because I think I've said before that our house is a little bit cooler a lot of times, so I want to make sure that it gets the rise that it needs. So right now I'm going to go ahead and just lightly coat a little bit of flour on here to help so it doesn't stick, and we will go ahead and stick it in our oven. And again, I'm just putting it on a low setting, and I'm going to shut it off so it stays nice and warm. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and cover it, just some plastic wrap, or you could use a towel, whatever you want. I'm just going to use some plastic. It'll be fine in there. The oven will be off. It's not going to affect it. Okay. All right, so that's it for now. We're going to go ahead and pop it in the oven. And once again, let's see if this thing will work. Okay, so we're back. It's risen, and you can see it's quite doubled in size. And now we're going to go ahead and knead it a little. I just moved it and it's starting to shrink down. I'm going to go ahead and put some flour on the surface to work it. We're going to get a little messy. Yeah, for some of you, you know I like to get messy, right? Anyway, so we're going to try and get this out. It's pretty sticky right now because it's going to get kneaded more. It was just kind of a wet dough before, and we only used a little bit of flour. So I'm just getting it out of the bowl so we can do some kneading. And once I get it on this flour, I'm going to do some gentle folding. Like a gentle folding, that it's also kneading the bread. Okay? So. I'm just going to do some additional flouring. Now there's a little bit of flour on this thing, so you're just going to kind of fold it in. Take it from the sides and kind of fold it in and work it. Turn it, always getting a little bit of the flour with it to help work it into the dough. Okay, so that was like, we had the 3 cups we put in, and we have the ½ cup or so that I'm using as an additional flouring. So I'm just going to work this in, gently fold from the edges, work it in. You want to get it to where it's a smooth elastic, just like all the other bread. You want it smooth elastic. And again, I'm just bringing it, kind of working it a little bit. I don't know if you can tell yet that it's starting to look smooth and elastic. Just trying to get the stickiness out. I'm going to put a little bit more underneath. And I'm going to just dust it slightly, just a little bit more. And I'm not definitely going to be using the full half. I don't think I need it. But we'll see. So kind of stretching it a little bit, folding it in. Okay, and then after we get this all done, we're going to clean out our bowl and have a clean bowl. We're going to put just maybe about a tablespoon, or not even a tablespoon, maybe ½ a tablespoon of more or just oil in the bowl. and we're going to let it rise for 30 more minutes. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and form our loaf. And we're doing a special challah today. It's going to be a unique shape. It'll be kind of fun. So this will be, again, a vegan challah. No eggs in it, no dairy. Straight up, 5 main ingredients. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's starting to look beautiful. Again, I'm just going to work it a little bit more. Still has a little bit of a stickiness to it. I'm trying to get some of this excess flour in here so it's not sticky, but just smooth and elastic. Okay, the bowl has been cleaned, and I'm going to go ahead and put, just again, it's probably about a half a tablespoon to a tablespoon. I'm not going to use a lot, so slightly grease, and then we're going to let it rise again for the, and then if you just saw that, it would stick into my counter. So anyways, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and coat this. Evenly coated. Looks good. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and cover it, let it rise for 30 minutes, and we'll be back to shape it before baking. Okay, we're back, and here's my dough. It's been 30 minutes, and now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on a floured surface. I need to divide it so I can get, I need at least 5 ropes, but I may actually go a little bit more than that in dividing because it seems like a lot of dough. And I'm just going to get a little bit of flour, not a lot, just a little bit, and just lightly coat it while I divide it. And again, I've got to make 5 ropes for this particular shape that we're going to be doing. I got a knife here, and I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to cut it in half. And get a little bit of flour. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go make some strips. I'm going to do and this one, to start off, I hope I can do this right. I've only watched the video, so this is going to be interesting. See how I do. You're basically going to be doing a braiding, but it's interesting how it goes. So this one's going to be over, like that. This goes down, and this goes over, that goes over. I hope you can see this. So the one that you just brought over is going to go off to the side. You bring it over, and we're going to bring the one we brought to the side before on top, and we're going to do it again with the others. Keep on bringing the farthest one away, over, bringing the other one down, farthest one away, bring it over, bring the other one down, bring the farthest over, and the other one down, the farthest over, the other one down, and it looks like I've got a little bit of a mess, so we're just going to wrap it together in a little ball. And now we're going to flip it over so we can finish this particular full braid. Got it back over. I'll finish the braid. Go ahead and bring that over. This is going to be a pretty big loaf of bread, I think, by the time it gets done. And I went ahead and already greased a loaf or a pan that I'm going to be cooking it on. And this is, I don't know if you can see this, but I'll show you shortly what it's going to look like. This is a really big piece of bread. Here's my braid. This is what it's looking like right now. And I'm going to go ahead and do a second smaller challah for tomorrow or today, whichever one we're going to use it. And I'm going to just do traditional on this one. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get this prepped. I'm going to do a little bit of a bath on it, I think. We'll just do like a little bit of like a butter bath or even a baking soda brush on and see how that turns out. I'll do probably one of each. Okay, so I have my little one. I'm going to go ahead with this little one. I did basically baking soda with really hot water and melt it, kind of, you know, give it a kind of like the pretzel we did before. So I'm going to go ahead and brush this on my bread, this particular smaller loaf. And it calls for the recipe to heat the oven to 450 degrees and kind of do it more like a Dutch oven style. So the larger one I'm going to do more like what it calls for. This one though, it probably won't go in there nearly as long, and we'll see how it turns out. And I am going to go ahead and do coat the other one with melted butter. And when I bake it, I'm going to put a pan on top so it kind of traps the heat and moisture inside from drying out, and also give it kind of like the Dutch oven. So here's my other one. This is the big giant loaf, that fun little braid. I'm going to wash my baking sodium brush off real quick. And again, I've got melted, this is vegan butter. It's not real butter. This is to keep it in the theme of a vegan bread that she asked for. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to coat this whole entire loaf with this melted butter. It should give it a nice golden look once it's all done, and it's probably going to be pretty good. I mean, I would think so. Anyway, so I did lightly grease the pan that I put it on for this particular one. The other one, the one that's going to be more kind of like your traditional challah, I just used parchment paper, and I did lightly spray it with some spray just so it doesn't stick to the paper as well. You know, you don't have to do it, but I just chose to do it for this particular bread this time, see how it turns out more or less. And I am not going to put any toppings on this. I think I'm just going to leave it with the butter for this one. The other one, I'm just going to sprinkle it with some of the larger kosher salt, and we're going to stick it in the oven. We'll see what it looks like in a little bit. So again, we're going to cook it about 30 minutes, Dutch oven style, and then I'll probably take the lid off for a little bit and let it go for a little bit longer to give it a nice crispy golden look to it. And I'll show you what it looks like along the way. So here's my loaf so far. That's been like the 30 minutes in the oven. I went ahead and turned it down, so I don't want to burn the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in for a little bit longer so it'll keep that beautiful color, and cook the middle because we do have a pretty thick braid. But it looks really pretty so far, so we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so I went another 10 minutes and it's looking beautiful. It's actually really pretty bread. I don't know I'm hoping you can see it. It's a huge bread, huge loaf for us. And it feels like it's done. It's got a flakiness, I feel like, to it. And I'm just kind of tapping it to see if it sounds like it's got a hollow sound. So that's good. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and say it's done. It looks beautiful and we can't wait to try it. So here you have it. I've got the one side that's got the butter topping. The other one I did just a wash with the baking soda on it, and I sprinkled it with a little bit of the kind of that kosher salt on it. So that's all the difference between them, other than the braids and the coating. Anyway, so completely vegan. We'll see how they are. They look beautiful. So real quick, I just want you to see the bread. This is the bread. It is so good. It's got a nice little crispy crunch on it. It is very tasty. Anyways, yum.